Hello there, welcome to this advanced mandolin lesson for the fiddle tune Toss the Feathers. My name's Mando Mike, and for the next 10 minutes or so we're going to have a learn of the Irish tune called Toss the Feathers. This is one of my favourite tunes, and it should hopefully end up sounding a bit like this. So this next 10 minutes is aimed for advanced players. So I'm not going to go through the basic tune line by line. I'm just going to play it through now. All of the tab is included free below, if you just click the link below. So what we're going to do now is we're going to grab J, we're going to play the basic version with no triplets or grace notes. And then once we've played it through once and you know the basic melody, we'll talk about adding some triplets. So I'll just bring J back in and we'll play Toss the Feathers straight. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we know the core melody, we can talk about adding some triplets. Now when you're playing a flute or a fiddle or a whistle, these little triplets and trills come quite easily. It's quite a small movement to get them sounding really nice. On the mandolin it's a little harder because we have a bit of plastic to hit each note. So we do have to think a bit harder about how we go about adding triplets and trills. So if I focus on the first two bars, there's two options for triplets and one option for a trill. Now, everything I add now is sort of my personal choice, so feel free to add whatever you want, but I'm at least going to show you the theory and the idea of where you add them. So let's have the triplet first. The second beat of the first bar, where it just goes 2-0 or ED, you could turn that into a triplet by adding a pull-off in between the two. So hit the 2, pull off, and then up. So instead of, it's now already sounding better. You can do the same thing at the end of that bar. So now you could pick that triplet. You could pick each note. There's many great mandolin players who can do that. I like to cut a little corner with that pull off. Because it's really important that the notes that aren't triplets still stick to the down on the beat, up off the beat. So you need to come out of the triplet ready to play a down on beat 3 on the open A. So if you don't get your triplet right, it throws you off. So that's why I like going down on the first note of the triplet, pull off, and then your last note of the triplet can be an up. So you can keep your right hand in the right motion. Then in the second bar, I instantly see a moment to add a little grace note on the 3rd fret. So instead of, you can now. So this time it doesn't affect your right hand so much because your right hand is just doing down, up, down, up. And all that's happening is, as you play the 3rd fret, you're instantly pulling back off to the 2nd fret. And the quicker you can do that, the better it is. You don't want... Because the slower it is, the more it starts to sound like a triplet. And that's the subtle difference. When you want a grace note, you're trying to pull off as quick as you can to get that sound. When you want a triplet, you actually want to make each note the equal length. So that's the subtle difference between the two. Triplet, and then grace note. So this one is a grace note. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So if I play those first two bars again, we now have this. Hopefully that makes sense. In the tab below, what I've done now is I've gone through the whole tune and added in where I think all those triplets and grace notes could go. Obviously, every time you hit the phrase, which is quite a few times in the A part, I've always added the triplets. And there's another hammer on just before the first time bar where I've hammered on for all three notes of the triplets, which is another little technique you can use. So all that's left to do now really is bring Jay back in and let's play it through. I suggest maybe just pause the video first, just play it through in your own speed, and then try and play along with me and Jay. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there we go, the hard advanced version of Toss the Feathers, complete with triplets and trills. I hope you've enjoyed the last 10 minutes or so. Please do hit subscribe down here in the corner if you've enjoyed that, and head over to mandolin.com if you'd like any more mandolin related info, and we'll see you next month.